ABC, it's Roger. Back again. Derek, thank you so much for your comments. Wow, it really means a lot to me. I feel the same way. We're brothers. We're all brothers and sisters here in BC, united by our love of music, record collecting. We don't like the same things. We have strong opinions and a passion. That's what I love. Anyway, going through stuff, making these videos, I keep finding stuff I want to show. I want to get to some of the more exciting records and stuff. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me, just to, give you some idea of who I am, where I'm coming from, and how I got all these records. And as much as I love seeing the records in your videos, what I really love is hearing about who you are, what you're doing. That's why we're here, I think. So, yesterday I wanted to honor my parents. It occurred to me I wanted to honor a couple of teachers. And a really important lesson I learned early in life. So I'm going to try to make this quick, but without forgetting stuff. So like I said, my sister and I took piano lessons as little kids. And this was, while music was not that important to my parents as far as we could tell, we were encouraged to take piano lessons because that was what middle-class families did, at least back in the 50s and 60s. My parents came from a dirt-poor background, and their whole life was about striving and attaining the American dream, middle-class, peaceful, secure existence. And they achieved that at some cost. They achieved that. But the idea of taking piano lessons, studying music seriously, doing it as a career, my parents were horrified by that. It caused some friction in our lives. And, they were right to be concerned, for sure. So, but once I was on that path, there was no turning back. Started piano lessons in second grade, I think. Took to it like a duck to water. Don't really remember those early lessons very much, but I had a bunch of different teachers. I was quickly playing actual, real pieces of music. I liked it a lot. Well, at some point, a little music school where I was taking these lessons, they said, well, he needs to be studying with Dr. Alan Brings, their premier piano instructor. He was also a professor of music at the City College of New York and a composer. He's still alive, actually. I was looking on Amazon, there's some CDs of his music. I think I might check them out. But anyway, Dr. Brings was a very stern taskmaster of the European sort. He had me playing Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven. And I didn't like it. I still don't really like that stuff. I can appreciate it, can respect its historical significance. To listen to it, to play it, it just doesn't speak to me, who I am. So, didn't practice that as hard as I should have. Certainly not up to his standards, and certainly not enough to be able to play Beethoven. Shit is hard. And so he was the kind of teacher who, at the end of lessons, sometimes I would be in tears. It's not Dr. Brings who's encouraging me to be a musician. No, far from it. But I learned a lot from him. And I want to acknowledge that. Studied with him for a number of years, and after a while he had me playing more modern stuff. He was a modern composer, and so he was into that stuff. Debussy, Ravel. We would do some two piano, four hands, duets, Bartok, Mikrokosmos, and the Barber variations. I liked that. I liked that a lot. I liked playing music with someone else, better than memorizing some piece of music and playing it solo. That connection. But most important thing that Dr. Brings taught me was insisting that I learn this piece. Arnold Schoenberg's Six Little Piano Pieces, Opus 19. Now, I don't think you have to be able to read music to be able to tell just from the way this looks on the page. But this is some pretty out there stuff. And it is. It's from his free atonal period, where he abandoned key signatures, harmony. So it's dissonant. Rhythms are jagged and irregular. Some people call it ugly. Some people would say, that's just noise. A 5-year-old could do that. Right? You've heard that before, right? Maybe you've even had that response yourself to some things. I had that response to this. I hated this. Like I said, he insisted that I learn this piece. Now, if you want a recording of this piece, here's a good one. This piano concerto and some Webern and Berg. It's excellent. So anyway, I've not even been forced to play this in a recital. So I really had to learn this piece. And I found that, although I initially hated it, that after a while, I grew to kind of like it. And eventually now I love it. But I was discovering this whole new sound world. It's nothing like any kind of music I'd ever known before. And in fact, that's exactly what it is. And so I learned that art is not about liking something. I like something. Where's the passion? Oh, I dislike something. I hate something. And there's the passion. Does that mean it's bad? Bad art? Because I don't like it? Obviously not. Wow! Hugely important lesson. Lesson I wish, the symphony would learn. I'm not going to hear any Schoenberg symphony. Maybe in New York or Chicago occasionally. They claim to be purveying art music. But it's all about people don't like it. And that reminds me of another teacher I had, 4th grade, Mrs. Donaldson. I don't remember her first name. But along with all the stuff that you do in 4th grade, she had this whole other layer on top of the curriculum where we studied the history of art. From the cave paintings of Lascaux to Braque, Picasso. And there would be a display in the classroom, and she would talk about, the artists' lives and show reproductions. But most importantly, she would have us do our own drawings, imitating what we were looking at. Make our own cave painting. Make our own Picasso. Now, 4th grade, that's young enough where, tastes haven't been molded, hardened. So it was a real eye-opening experience. This was no serious art history class by any means. It's 4th grade. But it laid the foundation for appreciation of art, especially modern art, that continues to this day. And so I just want to acknowledge her. And I also bring that up because, and this doesn't have to do with music, but it does. I bring that up because years later, when I was living in Boston, I had a friend who was a painter who I liked a lot and respected his painting a lot. And he was showing me this, a monograph of paintings by Cy Twombly. And I looked at this, and I had that response. Oh, it's just scribble. 5-year-old could do that. Wow, I hated myself. But I remembered Schoenberg. Just because I didn't like it. And maybe because I didn't like it. There's something going on there. So, I started studying about this guy, checking books out of the library. going to museums where his paintings were. And now he's my favorite painter. I mean, Scribble, yeah, It's the analog of the dissonance of Schoenberg, or the freedom of free jazz. So, that's what I wanted to talk about, teachers. And that lesson of, it's not about liking it. The good stuff is maybe the stuff you don't initially like. Now, I'm not saying there's not bad music, bad art out there. I don't like it, I never will. And while, I love to collect records by artists that I love, it's comforting to listen to music that you like. I also like when I find something where initially I don't like it. I have a strong response to it. Sometimes I'll go, gotta look into that a little further. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.